All right. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Matt here, and today I'm looking at boots that have been around a while. They have decent popularity in the military and in regular civilian life. These are the Salomon Guardians. Now, this is like your classic rough out leather boots. They come lined with Gore-Tex unlined. These ones are unlined, and there's a little bit of padding on them. These are really popular because they have that classic Salomon fit. They do have some criticisms around them though, around durability and value. They're not amazingly expensive. We'll get into the price in a moment, but they're not amazingly cheap either, unless you get them on sale. And so here they are. We're going to review them, and I'll tell you the things I like and don't like. But first I'm going to bring you to slides just so we can look at a bunch of the details. All right. So here's just some copy from the actual Salomon website, and I'll go through the description with them. So, meeting the on-base uniform requirement, the Guardian is a lightweight, high-performance boot built for traction, marching comfort, and durability. Capitalizing on Salomon's knowledge of trail running and hiking, this boot delivers confidence in every situation. Available in a wider fit. Sole traction and durability. A dual compound contra grip outsole is big, penetrating lugs, and a pronounced brake for traction on the ground, descending and climbing ladders. Walking comfort. We use a generous cushy EVA midsole and a protective cup sole to ensure comfort in hard, soft, or uneven terrain. Of course, as uniform compliance. MSRP is $220 Canadian. And features. So lacing system, standard regular laces. Waterproofness in this particular model, none. There is a Gore-Tex version. Or it might be the Salomon sort of custom lined version. So fake GTX, so to speak. Of course, height high. I think we got 8 inches here. Standard or wide. Weight's pretty good for a tall boot with some padding. About 620 grams. Midsole toe height, 8 millimeters. Midsole heel height, 19 millimeters. So of course, there you got your 11 millimeter drop. Inlay sole, textile, lining, textile, outer sole, rubber, upper leather. All right. So these guys I got for $100, which was an awesome sale directly from the Salomon site. I would say get them on sale. They're a good boot. They're definitely worth it. They're good value. Not at $220 though. Some things I really like about them is they've got an okay design. Me, the way I like my boots, I like classic design. And if you look closely at these guys, they do have somewhat of a classic design of your regular rough out leather desert boot that, you know, became popular when from Desert Storm, from Iraqi Freedom, things like that with the US military. Some things I don't like about these boots, and let me get my handy knife pointer here. And this is common with Salomon, is they tend to over-design their boots. So, for example, you'll see here, there's a pressed leather section here. This has some function to it in that it's made to make the leather more rigid. And if you were to get your hands on these boots, it is stiff. There is rigidity in here. I imagine it's not only pressed, but there's some glue or some other material that makes this part stiff to kind of lock down your midfoot versus the toe, which is actually rather soft. And so there's functionality here, but I don't need these little triangles or shapes here. I don't need these in my boot. I don't need them looking cool or whatever in that respect. If I could have had these not here, that would have been awesome. Salomon branding, as you can see here. So of course, sure, whatever. And here you can go around to the back. See the back. There's the heel. As you can see, there's padding. Right up, I think it's called the Vamp here, which is very comfortable. And yeah, it's that classic Salomon feel. Now, when I mean classic Salomon feel, if you never had a pair of Salomon boots, they hug your midfoot really well. Or my midfoot really well. It depends on the shape of your foot. So that's another thing. One size does not fit all with everybody. So always get to wherever you buy your boots from, try them on, see how they work for you. For me, where I have a regular sort of shaped foot, my height's 6'1", I'm like 180 pounds, and I have like regular shaped foot, about a high arch. So the way these hug my midfoot, just work perfectly for me. The toe box is large enough for me where my toes do move around a bit. Sometimes when I don't lock my midfoot down well enough when I'm rucking, it could be a bit of an issue of where there's a bit too much movement and I get rubbing, right? So I do have to make sure I lock my midfoot down. But other than that, to me, they're a pretty good looking boot, but still, I don't need that stuff on any of my military style leather boots. As I said, the comfort, they've got that classic Salomon fit. They're similar to the 4Ds, if you guys are familiar with those ones. Great arch support, again, padded lining adding to comfort. Now, because these are padded on the inside, while they are breathable and unlined, that means if they get wet, they're staying wet for a little bit, right? There's open cell foam padding in this section. If it gets soaked, it's staying wet, right? Until you walk it off and dry off. Now the lower parts on the inside of the boot, there's some lining, but there's no foam or anything like that. There's no padding, so it's pretty good. The tongue is lightly padded, but there's no foam. There's like a slight small foam piece. So yeah, it does add comfort and protects your top of your foot from the lacing, but it won't hold moisture too much. It's not as thick as this padding out here. From a durability perspective, they've been holding up well. So I've had these for, it doesn't really matter how long I've had them. I've had them for a couple years now, for about a year, a little over a year now. But I've probably put maybe 100 kilometers on these, just over, with rucking with like either a 35 or 65 pound pack. And so they've been holding up well. Now, the leather they have here is good enough leather. It's not like a thick 3 millimeter, like whatever, sorry, 1.3 milliliter leather or anything like that. I don't have a tool to measure it here. I'd say it's probably like a millimeter thick. It's like a very basic leather. It'll last. It's not going to be a boot like a pair of Lovas that are going to last you 8-9 years. These will probably, with regular wear and tear, last you 2 to 3 years, right? Most Salomon shoes I find are boots. They're just kind of meant to last a few years and you're replacing them, right? So, and that's fine because you just kind of pay the right price for them anyways. Some things I really like are definitely, there's a built-in gusset. Let me show you this. And you can see it right here. There's like an elastic gusset. And this is great because it adds the comfort. It holds the tongue in place so it's not moving and shifting around a lot. And it keeps debris out. So when I'm walking through sand, there's a lot of rocks, there's things like that. It's great. It keeps that stuff out and it doesn't let it get into your sock and your foot. So that's awesome. That's a great feature. Another great thing I really like about these, and I never thought I would, are the laces. This is not your standard paracord lace they put in these. I even went to the Salomon site to try and purchase these and I couldn't buy them separately. So what's really unique about these is they look like your standard sort of boot lace, but they have stretch to them. And they stretch like very slightly, which is great. So when I try to lock down my foot and I do it properly, it's good, but there's still enough of when I move, it flexes a little bit. And if I wish I had more laces like this. I find that they're either you get some really stretchy laces, or there's no give at all, and they're just kind of stiff laces with most of my boots. So that's a big win. Another thing too, which I really like about these boots, is they have a classic lace system. Too many times boot makers try to switch things up and make it too complicated. The single rivets here with the loops, I think all boots should be made like this. The odd other system that might work is when you have like a hook to a lace lock and then you hook the boots laces in. That works as well. There should only be two systems. We don't need anything wonky or special, which sometimes doesn't work out well. I'll give you an example. There. Here's a pair of Akus. Akus, these boots in particular, which I've reviewed, they just have these D-ring loops all the way up. And these were super annoying for me to lace up because A, I can't lock my midfoot in really well. And B, just the way the D-rings are, and with these laces, it's hard to kind of tie them up tightly, and because they get locked in and they create a lot of friction for each D-ring. And I have no idea why Aku made them these ways. Like it doesn't destroy the functionality of the boot, it just makes them hard to don and doff, which is annoying. Now these are like winter boots by Handbag, and so here you can see they have a ribbon loop system, but they have that classic lace lock of where you just kind of pull it over, lock your lace in, and then you can hook the rest of the lace up and just kind of just lock your foot in. This is another great system. So it's either this I really like, or the one where your laces are locked in with a good loop system. Those are the best. Another great thing about these boots are, of course, the outsole. With Salomon's, that's one thing they do really well. They do not go for the Vibram outsoles, which are really good. They have their own contra grip stuff. And I find that my favorite outsoles are the Vibram stuff or contra grip. Those are the only two I like. Anybody who's had their own other proprietary stuff, I've had hit or miss feelings. Lova is okay. I'll add it to the list. The Lova sort of polymer injected or polyurethane injected outsoles are really good. But anyways, back to Salomon's. The contra grip outsoles, you can see with the deep lugs, have the right amount of durability and stick. Like I said, I've had over 100 kilometers on these things with heavy weight. Not a lot of wear. You could look on the toe, there's nothing much. You can look at the edge here. You can see up at the top, there's nothing crazy going on. They've been holding up really well, especially in the heel. You can see it there. I usually don't pronate too much or anything like that, so I don't get uneven wear. But yeah, these have had great grip. They're very comfortable. They're easy to jog in when I'm doing like ruck jogging with my kit. It's good. So they've worked well in water, worked well in mud, worked pretty well in snow and ice. Yeah. And so if you guys get the chance to get a pair of these on sale, definitely do it. Retail, if you're in a pinch, sure. If you need them and you want a good pair of boots that'll work, be pretty comfortable. They're light enough, good outsole. Definitely go for these. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I've got. Thank you so much. Take it easy.